it's time to bring on our next speaker. That's right. It's my pleasure to introduce this lady. And for those of you who don't know who Sue Adler is, you are missing out on what's going on out there. Sue is over in the New Jersey area. I'm sure she'll tell you a little bit more about where she is, where she works. She can help you with one of the top teams in the area. That's not the stuff that really even wows me about what Sue has already done. She was named in Inman's 100 Most Influential Real Estate Leaders. She was ranked by Wall Street Journal as one of the most successful real estate teams. And even more than that, Sue has broken the barrier. All of us real estate agents talk about ourselves. We talk to each other. We share ideas. What did Sue do? She took the wall down and went to the public. That's right. Sue has created HearItDirect, which is a real estate conference where she actually goes out and puts consumers on the panels to find out what they're thinking to make our industry better. If you've heard of Sue before, type it in and let me know. And if this is your first time hearing from Sue, let us know it is your first time. You are going to be amazed as we turn it over to Sue. Are you there for us, Sue?
I am here. Thank you. That was quite an introduction.
Well, you know, you said earlier that you get to follow Ben, and you know what? Forget that. You're the one taking down the wall. You're the one taking it to the world. You're the one talking to the consumers about it, Sue. I've given you the screen. Let's see what you've got for us. Let's hear what you can tell us today.
Can you see that? Can you see that?
Absolutely, we can.
Okay, great. Okay. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about really how to build a consumer-centric business, because I truly believe, and I'm living this, that creating a consumer-centric business is crucial to your long-term success as an agent today. I mean, when you think about it, I've been in the business for a very long time, and I would say 1999 to 2009, there was the forced registration. I was getting, you know, almost hundreds a day. It was crazy. I mean, those times where it was insane. It was, and I joke. I say it was a forced registration party every single day. And you know, over the past couple of years, we're seeing that start to really slow down. And one of the things that Ben had mentioned, which is very true, that he saw because he had attended our last conference, but the consumers just, they don't want to click on the ads anymore. So the question becomes, okay, so how do the consumers, how do we relate to them? And how do we get them to pick up the phone and call us, or you know, email or text us? How do we get them to contact us instead of forcing them to? So anyway, what I did was I started HearItDirect because I was noticing a lot of changes like this. And I always thought, you know, it's always us on stage talking about what we think the consumers want. So, you know, the voice of the consumer has just been missing this, so why not put them on stage? And when you think about the average agent is 52, and the average buyer is in, I think, early 30s. So how are we marketing to this Google generation? How are we building trust with them? What do they value? And how do they choose their agents, and what do they click out of? So, and then the other question, of course, which we all want to know is, are we spending our marketing dollars wisely? And if not, what should we be spending them on? So that's what I want to get into a little bit today. What we did with the consumer panel conferences, we have focus groups of buyers, sellers, and actually in our next one, which is it's in Southern California on October 1st, that is going to be, we're adding 2 more niche panels. One is going to be distress, and the fourth one is going to be Gen Y, which I think is going to be the most fascinating out of all of them, because, I mean, there's so, rent versus buy. We know what is their mindset when they're deciding this, and they, and you know, also obviously with the way they do their searches and contacting an agent. So we also went with them in their cars. We filmed them at home, watching them do their actual searches as well. So it's pretty fascinating to watch all this. Okay, I just skipped over this. Okay, so it's one thing to listen to what the consumers are saying, but then it's important to interpret it and then think about, okay, so what are we going to do now to change our business based on what we have heard? So let's start with Gen Y, and just basically, I'm going to call them the Google generation, and how they do their home search and their mindset. First of all, one of the things that we are finding is today it's about really creating the total client experience to get people to talk about us. So, you know, today's service, it's almost like a commodity. It's expected, and that's not what is going to create the raving fans for you. So how are you going to create an experience for this new generation, how it's going to make them feel, or how's the transaction going to make them feel? That's what's valuable. How are we going to create these wow moments for them? So we need to be able to give them a great story to tell about their experience. So I'm seeing this happening through the country. A lot of teams are adding a concierge person who's just responsible for that extra service for that client. And you know, I also think this is part of the reason we're seeing a trend in teams growing, because for a solo agent today, it's just really, really difficult if you want to make a living to be able to provide the kind of service necessary and do your own admin and, you know, everything that's necessary in terms of the internet, knowing your communities, doing the blogging, doing absolutely everything. So that's why in terms of building a team, that's why I think we are seeing a trend, because you do have a team of specialists that each has their own role so that you can create that entire client experience. So, okay, so let's get to the Google generation. I'm sorry, I got off on a little tangent there. One of the things that the buyers were saying is searching for a home became a part-time job. They would spend hours a night searching instead of contacting the agent, and they just don't want to be sold. They would rather spend hours a night just doing their own research instead of being sold. They also felt that cross-referencing information between Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, every website out there basically is how they're going to get all their information. They don't believe that they can find all the information on one website. So that makes us think, okay, so if we have these registration forms, maybe we can say this is what you're going to get on this form, because they'll give fake information, as we all know now, or they'll X right out of it. So how are we going to get them to register? Maybe tell them what they're going to be getting, offer them something of value. One of the consumers was saying, well, if I knew I would get X back towards closing costs, I might fill out the registration. So start thinking in terms of what extra can you offer that that person so that they're going to want to register and not force them to register. Okay, another thing they were saying is they're just not ready, and that's why, you know, a lot of us have these long-term drip campaigns for people. And that's also why they don't want to register, because they're just not ready yet. So you want to provide enough information for them to just keep coming back and updated. So that could be with home sales stats, with blogging. Video is great. I started using viral marketing, VYRAL, and it's video blogging, and it goes out to your entire database however often you do your videos. So, and you just become that news person. And one of the things that the consumers were all saying was, video is the next best thing. For that person who does not have an agent that they're already working with, video is creating that connection. And nobody's going to work with you unless that connection is created today, because lead capture is going away. So really think in terms of just creating that connection and creating that online trust for them to pick up the phone to call you. And I know I keep saying that, but it's just so crucial today and in the future of this business. So the other thing is, okay, so the ads are invisible to them. We watch them skipping over all of the ads. And so this really makes you think, okay, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, what are you spending your money on with these ads? And check your ROI on this, because it could be, for example, I happen to get a lot through these sites, but I also get a lot of click-throughs just through my specific listings. So when you're checking this, break it out to, are they clicking on your listings or are they clicking on the ads, and really check your ROI, because could you be taking some of that money and be spending on other things where you're going to be getting a greater return? So you really want to start looking at things like that. Okay, so one of the things that consumers were saying, and this is so true with IDX, you know, the IDX covers an entire MLS. So if you're getting a lead on a listing, and if you just give that consumer the same information that they can find online, they say they're going to go elsewhere. So you need to be able to, before you pick up the phone, I know speed is important just to get that call, but if you don't know anything about the house that they're actually asking about, you have to do your due diligence before you pick up that phone and call them, and don't just read to them what they're seeing online. There is no value in that, and that's why today, I don't know if you're seeing this, but I definitely am, consumers are looking more and more for the listing agent online, and that's because they want to be able to get the most accurate information. So All right. Now, oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that yet. I just jumped ahead. But so when they're ready to buy, how do they choose? So I'm sorry. Oh boy. Well, I'm not going to go back because I can't figure out the slide. I'm not tech savvy like Ben here. But okay, so they choose based on reputation or referral, which we all know. So again, you want to develop that online trust. One of the things is I was actually looking in Boulder, Colorado, just for a possible vacation home, and I came across, and I've never spoken with this person ever, but I went into YouTube, and I wanted to see the different communities, and I found this guy, Zachary Epps, kept coming up over and over again with all of his community videos on Boulder. Then he had a form to fill out for, I'll mail you this Boulder, what is this Boulder Real Estate Neighborhood Guide. So I filled out the form. I thought, okay, well, this thing shows up in the mail, and it is the most impressive thing I've seen. And then I start getting postcards from Boulder, from him thinking of you. It's just, and it was so interesting from a realtor perspective and from a consumer perspective to see this. I have no idea who this person is, but if I were moving there, I would certainly, he's the first person that would pop into my mind to call. And I've never had a conversation yet with this guy because I'm not sure that I'm even considering buying a vacation home there, but I'm doing that research stage. So it got me into the mindset of the consumer as I was doing this, but thinking like a realtor. And I was very impressed with that. So we do community videos also. I don't know if you've been on my site, but it's SueAdler.com, and if you go to /communities, you'll be able to see our community videos. And what we did was we got our clients on there to talk about what they love living in our towns, and we incorporated those into the videos as well. And we get, at the end of the video, it says, so if you want to come in for the Real Town Tours, give us a call. We get daily calls for people who want to come in for the Real Town Tours. And as Ben was saying earlier about relocation buyers, and we found this so much with HearItDirect, when we're asking the relocation buyers, they just had so much trouble finding this kind of stuff where they can really create a connection with those communities. And if you're the one to be able to provide that for that relocation buyer, you are coming off as the area expert and setting yourself apart. So it's just something to keep in mind. And it's, I didn't spend a lot of money on mine because I found a college student to do it who was a film student. So there are ways to do it inexpensively where it does look very professional. So anyway, and then the other thing is with market updates, you can get on there weekly and do your market updates, send it through your blog. You'll create more of a connection if you do it through video. But even if you just do it in regular blogging, that's fine too. But again, you're staying in front of them, top of mind area expert. Okay. Okay. So I thought this was interesting. The buyers were all saying that they want to be able to stalk you before you can stalk them, and because we were asking them about Facebook and social media, and would they choose their agent that way? And so really on Facebook, just be a person. Just be somebody that they're going to want to, if they can find you on there, just turn yourself from just being the realtor into somebody that they really will be able to connect with, because I happen to get a lot of business from Facebook. Sometimes I talk business, sometimes I don't, but I'm connecting with people on some level, and they are picking up the phone and calling me or chatting with me on Facebook. So try to don't start posting all of your listings. That's going to turn people off, and we've already been through that kind of thing a million times, so I'm not going to go there right now. But okay, so let's get into the sellers. How do the sellers choose their agent? One of the things at HearItDirect, I love this, when they were asked if their listing was on every real estate website out there, the guy said, one of the panelists said, isn't it having your listing on every real estate website like advertising clean rooms in a hotel? Hey, we have clean sheets here, so it's really interesting to me because as agents, so many still go out on listing appointments and say, well, we're going to put your house on this website, and this website, but the consumers, they expect that today. That's not setting you apart today. So what will set you apart? How do they choose their agents? And they all talked about how it's about trust. It's about I'm going to list with the person who will make me feel like they're taking care of me, they're in control of the transaction, they're going to get the job done for me, and they just trust that person as a person as well, and they like that person as a person. So you want to build trust as a market expert, and for example, okay, we bring with us to a listing. I bring with us to, God, I'm nervous. I'm so sorry. On a listing consultation, I like to call it. I don't like to call it a presentation anymore. But we have how many active listings there are in our towns, and then the next chart is how many have gone under contract, and it goes by week, so it's week by week. And you can check it in terms of, if there are 100 actives on the market and only 3 a week are selling, then that really sets the tone in terms of how you're going to do the pricing. And we also showed a graph with list-to-sale price ratio based on days on market. So in our town, if a house sells after the first weekend, the list-to-sale price ratio is actually 101.5%. And when you show this to both a buyer and to a seller, the buyers are not going to lowball that hot brand new listing. And the sellers are, you're obviously getting them to create urgency, because if it's been on for 3 months or more, it drops to 89% in my market. So you obviously want to build confidence as the person who gets the job done. When they talk about brand, the sellers, the buyers all say, I want my agent to create a brand for me. I don't care about their brand. And they were all saying none of them cared about their agent's brand. So they're obviously choosing the agent based on the agent themselves. And building a brand for them, I mean, it's about their house, it's about showcasing their house, it's about showcasing their community to attract those buyers. So one of the things that I do, I built a new custom site this year, and on all of my listings, I'll have the PDF of the house, of the brochure, an interactive floor plan. I use Floor Plan Online for that. We have a survey on there, so we give them all of that information to showcase the house. But then I also have the community video for that town pulled right in there, all the school information pulled right in there, every blog post we've ever written on that community pulls right in there, and the Yelp reviews for that community pull right in as well. So we're not just showcasing the house, we're showcasing the community, and that is helping create a brand for your client, for their house. I mean, how many times have you had somebody, or as a buyer even, or I don't know if you've gone online and you just see this house, well, where is it? Where's this house? The house looks nice, but where is it? And the buyers will just click out of that, or they're not going to make a commitment on a house until they also are sold on that community. So it's really important to be able to provide them enough information to be able to make that decision. Okay, so let's talk about creating value. Well, one of the sellers in Dallas said, she sold my house so fast that she should have made less money. She shouldn't have made the full 3% since she didn't have much to do. And that was a huge aha to me, because it really showed that we are just not showing our value from the time of the sale to closing. So, it's so important that we start showing them absolutely everything that we are doing from the time of the sale till closing. So I have a transaction manager, and I came back from Dallas, and we just made sure that absolutely every little thing on our checklist is going now to the consumers as well, so that they know everything. Because how many things do we take care of without bothering the seller? Because we just kind of want to shield them from things. So it's just important to show our value from the start all the way through to the finish with this. And okay, so this is interesting. Expired listings. Ben was talking about expireds, and I do a lot of expired listings. And what always has surprised me was that at the listing appointment, the sellers will say to me, well, they heard from their previous agent what the comps were when they initially listed it, but they never heard again until throughout the entire listing. So one of the things we do is we put our sellers on auto comp, so they're totally aware of all new listings that come on, anything that goes under contract, price reductions at all times. And it's just crazy to me that I can't even begin to tell you how many times this has happened. So it's so important just to have these calls and talk to your clients about where the market is. And I think a lot of the times we're just afraid to have these price reduction calls with our sellers. And I don't think it's the seller's fault all the time. I think it's us being not proactive enough in trying to get those price reductions when we need to, because it's not doing our sellers a service by letting that house just sit out there for a long time, because obviously they're going to get the lowball offers. Another way to do this is, I noticed that after 3 weeks, if a house has been priced at the same price, if you look at I use Garden State MLS. So Garden State MLS, Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com, you still see them showing up in the search results, but fewer and fewer are clicking through as you get to 3 weeks. And if you tell the seller at the listing appointment that that's what they should expect, by week 3, we need to get in a whole new set of buyers because we've basically depleted our source of every single buyer that's out there who's online. If you say that in advance, by week 3, they're going to be expecting that price reduction. It's way easier to get it at that point, because otherwise what happens is by week 3, they're going to think, well, you're not doing anything on my house anymore. So again, that's just showing our value. So much of showing our value is setting up that expectation in advance. So because once you do that, then they'll be like, oh, yeah, you told me that that would happen. So, and let's see. Okay, let's get into some of the buyer stuff. So on the buyer side, at HearItDirect, Liz Landry was moderating our technology panel, and she said that she started asking them questions about a buyer consultation, and they all said that a buyer consultation would have been so helpful to them and such a great time saver. And J. Michael Manley, who is an agent who came to our first event, he left the event and he went and he did these videos called Mythbusters. So if you look up J, it's just the letter J, Michael Manley, M-A-N-L-E-Y, go to his YouTube channel, and it's really, really good. And he did these Mythbuster videos on, one is on buyer consultations and why buyers aren't liars. It's just that we don't ask the right questions of these buyers. So, and he's a few of them. He's a few on sellers as well. But it's all about showing our value. And at the buyer consultation, I don't know if you guys have seen this TED video, but there is a TED video on how to make choosing easier. And one of the things that I have my buyer agents do is, buyers are out there, they see all these listings in front of them, and how do we help them narrow down their choices? I mean, the TED video basically has, if they go into a Whole Foods and there are 15 choices of jams in one aisle and there are 3 choices of peanut butter in another aisle, it's proven that they'll taste the 15 jams, but they won't buy them. But more people will buy one of those 3 peanut butters. So it's really important for us to just help them prioritize their options and then help them narrow down their choices, and then keep bringing them back to that. Keep bringing them back to what they said. And if you do that at the buyer consultation, you are leading the way. You're leading your buyer towards getting what they want instead of having them lead you into basic chaos. Okay, they basically are relying on our guidance. Okay, so let's get to the last slide here. It's still a relationship business, and the sellers were saying, I don't want to be thought of as just a transaction. Buyers could be saying that as well, but one seller said that. And I wanted a marriage, not a one-night stand, another one said. So we all know that 22%, there's a really high percentage of consumers that say they would use the same agent again according to the NAR survey, but only 22% actually do. So why does that happen? It's because we don't stay in touch with them. So how are we going to stay top of mind? We do a welcome to the neighborhood party for all of our new buyers that come in, which definitely adds value. We're helping them create their community, and that starts, not just during the sale, but after the sale. We continue to do that. We help them with their resources in terms of if they need a plumber, electrician, whatever. On their birthday, call them. Don't just write on their walls. Stay in touch with them. Put them on auto comps or market snapshot, and stay in touch with them so that you see anytime something comes on the market in their neighborhood, give them a call. So just community. One of the things. Oh, this is a good one. Client parties. We have client parties every year, but I heard one of the consumer panels say, don't call it a client party. If I was invited to a cocktail party, I would go. I might go to a client party after the first year, but to meet people. But after a while, I'd come to your cocktail party, but I may not come to your client party. And that was actually a huge aha for me because we've always called it a client party, and I have noticed that we definitely get a bigger turnout from some of my regulars, but from mostly the new people who've just relocated to the area.
Sue, thank you so much for sharing all that information. We hope you're going to continue to hang out for the information that's coming from everybody else, but that was an
Absolutely.
amazing half hour of information.